Hey guys, we are back with the final game between Tacocake and TopRamen. Who's going to come out on top, Ramen? Well, that's not actually my prediction. I'm not 100% sure who's going to... I honestly can't call it. I mean, it's been neck and neck. I think TopRamen's looked better in the macro department, but Tacocake has had some really nice timing attacks. I'm struggling to remember. I think there was one game so far in the set where Tacocake hit tier 2. Everything else, he guns it with those like evolved tier 1.5 structures, and he just brings it to them. So, hey, we're getting into game 5 of a best of 5. It's not every day you see that. Let's see what happens on the Purgatory. We have Tacocake in the bottom right and TopRamen in the top left. Now, this is not Fata Morgana, a map by VX7, but it is a map by VX7, which I guess makes it more than 50% Fata Morgana, even though it's a very different map, different tile set, different layout, different structure. But don't ask me, man. I don't make the rules, except I do. I am the lead designer of Cosmonarchy. I am the man who tried his best to make this a reality, some kind of community and structure and project that is better than Starcraft 1 and Starcraft 2 and just is just epic in general. So I know that sounds like a highfalutin goal, but a lot of people have joined me, including VX7 himself, in that goal, in pursuit of that goal. And now we have some players who, if you rewound maybe a month ago, I would have said, who the hell is TopRamen and Tacocake? And why are they playing my game? Well, it turns out they're pretty cool. They're pretty good players overall compared to the field that we have, and I am looking forward to seeing what other shenanigans they might get up to. We've got Tacocake building his hatch at the ramp. This is a very standard play if you're going to be a little bit more on the defensive side. On the Purgatory, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like this is a bit hard to hold for Zerg early on. So if you don't go degen opener, which is, for those who don't know, is you get fast gas, make a transport, and then move your, because you can transport structures of a small enough size in Cosmonarchy, you move your Kagrant, your creep colony equivalent, over here to spread the Kagra, also known as creep, and you just do that. Now, we have a cute little move here. It looks like the Droleth was not able to make it up the ramp. Or maybe it was and I wasn't paying attention, I'm not sure, but the star pad is coming. So we'll know based on what Tacocake does with his first couple of combat units, whether he knows that the star pad is coming. But this is indeed an interesting opener for TopRamen, something he has not done before. Now, unfortunately for good old TopRamen, he has already played the first qualification series of Gauntlet B, and he was not able to make it happen in that set. So he has some thoughts. He's thinking about it. Like, what should I do? Meanwhile, Tacocake has made it into battlements by now, so congratulations to him for qualifying ahead of the Beaver 99, who is really resurged, I'd say, as a pretty good Terran player overall. I have high hopes that he might be able to make it in, but he'll have to make it past the winner of Benno versus Nozlix. All of these matches will be played by the time you hear this video, most likely, because I imagine by the time you see this video, the tournament itself will be underway. So there is that as well. But anyway, it's a nice little time capsule here, recording this the day before we start battlements, so that Friday. And we have a storm of Quasilisks moving across the map. So no anti-air, no posturing for a anti-drop or anything, but a second star pad has been erected, and this is on a map without the ridge, so your gas harvesting is actually quite limited, and I feel like maybe the Wraiths are... I don't know, this could end really badly depending on how many Wraiths and Mavericks are actually there by the time these Quasis decide to get curious and poke up the ramp. You do have cliff advantage in StarCraft 1, but it's like a coin flip 50% chance to miss, or it's like 49.5 or whatever, you know what I mean. But in Cosmonarchy, we removed all that RNG stuff, and instead we have +2 weapon range. So that's allowing these Quasis to get a little bit of damage softened up onto them, and now 3 Wraiths have shown themselves, but Quasis aren't terrible versus Wraiths. You can, however, operate on the sort of side here, as you can see TopRamen doing, showing off our new lovely visuals for Cloak, where it looks much smoother and even features the shadow and stuff fading in and out instead of just disappearing and vanishing. Now, as a 4th Wraith finishes, it will attempt to be focused down, and it will indeed fall. I feel like if TopRamen just went on an A move after that, he would have been fine. Can he save all of his workers? I think so. There's only going to be one Quasilisk shortly. This one going all the way across the map off the rally point, so the control not exactly there for really both of our players, because I feel like Tacocake probably could have just targeted something else. But, you know, he's busy back at home. He's busy macroing. And we've got a treasury here, so there will be an expansion attempt. Now he's going to go ahead and try to repair his Wraiths. Something that I noticed TopRamen struggles in the moment, in the heat of battle. Like, if you overwhelm him, if you hit him with something that he's not expecting, He can absolutely get overwhelmed, it seems. So he's still learning what the crisis responses are in Cosmonarchy. And that's kind of true for all the RTSs. Like, I think a good RTS game, a good RTS experience involves basically doing crisis management all the time. And it's just the intensity of that crisis management is something that scales up over time. Yeah, fuck that Hatcheros, dude. Tacocake, on the other hand, I think he tunnel visions on the micro, but he still does the micro pretty well. Whereas I think TopRamen can have a little bit of imprecision, but still doesn't necessarily have the good macro logistics behind it. Now, we did see a move out of the Quasis, and we do indeed have double Spraith over here. If I'm in this position with the Wraiths, I'm probably thinking, oh no, some of them are rallying right over the mini-map. Okay, I think he's figured it out. So yeah, exactly what's happening here. This is perfect. So this Kagran's could be turned into a Spraith. We'll keep an eye on that. It looks like instead it'll turn into a Circuith, which is wise. You don't want the ground force to just be able to storm the gates. The Quasis did get scouted by those Wraiths. At least one of them did end up going down. I thought maybe for a second Tacocake was going to try to hit the Treasury, but you know, it's got 3 armor, so it's a little bit hard. We do have the Anchor up here with 4 Mavericks in it. I feel like this will be more than enough to hold this position, especially with the Wraiths dogpiling on it. Now we've got Masons to repair, but eventually the Anchor does indeed go down. The problem is now these Quasis, like, they aren't really thinning the herd of Wraiths. The Wraith count is getting pretty high up there. And as soon as TopRamen goes ahead, and he didn't end up killing that Anchor either, so Tacocake will not be able to aggress again the same way. He's going to go for the Vornath Pond, which isn't a bad shout because, you know, he's got some gas in the bank. He does have access to extra geysers, and he will be able to saturate that a little bit faster. We've got TopRamen over here resetting the Anchor on the high ground instead of, you know, fortifying this position here just yet. So I think that might have been a little bit of an error in judgment. However, something that Tacocake likes to do all the while is he loves to drop. He loves to get his drop action on. So I'm actually quite surprised that TopRamen isn't going to protect against that, at least not right now. Now, his Wraiths have arrived, and once again, we'll be heckling the natural. There's only a couple of Quasis here, so these Quasis, actually, this could be really, really bad for Tacocake. I love how aggressive these players are. They're playing very non-standard. We do have some Nathrakors being queued up. Only 3. That's 2 per, because they are pairs. They come out in pairs, just like Zeths or, you know, I mean, Zerglings in Starcraft 1, right? A lot of units have that. I do think that TopRamen could be pressuring the hatch a little bit heavier. I do like the burrow action because it, you know, you burrow by default. You don't have to research anything in Cosmonarchy. You just have all your unit behaviors and abilities and stuff. So the thing I'm a little bit worried about when it comes to the Naths is that if you don't have like equal or better Nathrakor count to the Wraith count, then you will eventually just end up getting destroyed by the Wraiths. However, they might have been right-clicked here. We're going to find out in just a moment. No, okay, good reaction. Doesn't end up greeting for the hatch. He wants to come back in and finish it off, but those Nathrakors can and will overwhelm you. Now, they weren't on a proper attack move all the way out, it looks like. They might have just been on like a general right-click or something. And now this is the problem, right? When you're on top of your enemy with the Naths, then they can and will stick to you. But at this point, you know, he could just stand and fight. There's not that many Naths. This is what I meant by, like, the Nath count needs to be, like, at least even with the Wraith count. And at this point, I mean, okay, it's only 9 Wraiths. It's actually not the end of the world. But the Naths are not as efficient versus this threat as Mass Quasi would be, or as even Hydras would be with the extra range. He also doesn't have an Obeleth to detect, so they can play around the extremities of the range and kill Quasilisks specifically. So when you have these small counts, it can be quite disruptive. Now, he has lost his natural. It's not the end of the world. Tacocake actually has a pretty comparable worker count, despite being only on 1 base, and he can reset this. So the question is, will he? He's currently making just Quasis. He's not going to bother with anything else. He may have forgotten that he can reset this hatch. I'm kind of surprised he didn't go for, like, adding, you know, Kagran's or anything. It looks like right now he's very dedicated to the idea of going on a 1-base attack. We don't have any air defense over here. There is a Shaman on the way to repair those Wraiths. It basically releases a healing pulse, and all of the Wraiths in the area will get healed. I mean, air units, ground units, mech units, bio units, all that. Now, unfortunately for TopRamen, he will end up losing a couple of workers here. His reaction a little bit slow to pull them away, and crucially, the reaction to use other combat units a little bit slow as well. Now, here's the other problem. There's actually, okay, never mind. The Anchor was full. I was going to say, if the Anchor wasn't full, then the Wraiths could actually just, the Nathrakors rather, could just run roughshod over this. The Wraiths do end up getting forced back. That buys a little bit of time for Tacocake, who has been able to build some more hatches in the meantime, at least get them started. He has a Hydra then starting. That's on the extremity. I feel like that could get sniped out if TopRamen is being particularly aggressive with it. I think the crucial factor here is Spraiths. Spraiths received a buff recently that gave them +1 armor. The Wraith attacks with a 2x5 with no armor pen. So it's actually dealing 2 × 5 damage, reduced by 3 each, it will deal 2 damage per hit to a Spraith. So, I mean, when you get a high enough, value on when it comes to the rates, like, okay, eventually you're going to be in a pretty good spot, right? You can still overwhelm it. But the Spraiths are very, very good at dealing with the threat here. So I'm very surprised that Tacocake omitted that. He does have his Hydra Thin coming, and despite having less workers and very much less military, a lot of TopRamen's force is either hyper-mobile but vulnerable in the form of Wraiths, or hyper-immobile with the Phalanx and the Shaman and stuff like that. Now, he has the Mavericks, but they probably won't be able to do too much right now. Now, that Hajarosk is going to take a very long time to attack. I would be probably dogging it with my Quasis in Tacocake scenario. You've got some Wraiths. You can put some damage on them at the very least, like force them to pick between attacking the Hatch and not. But it looks like Tacocake is a little bit paranoid about more action happening. He's going to make a Spraith at his cliff. He's got plenty of production here, and he will be making 10 Hydras. That will probably clean house over here, but I would really love to save all the assets that I can save over in this situation, particularly since some of these eggs are actually making stuff, right? The one Quasi lone and abandoned by the Geyser, but here come the Hydras. A little bit of a sandwich action. I mean, I feel like it's definitely possible. TopRamen gonna have to micro his little heart out, and if he wants to get these Wraiths survived, it looks like at least 3 of them will go down. Very, very cost-efficient trade for our Terran player, who is gonna go ahead and scout out a little bit just to see, okay, does my opponent have more bases? What's going on? Obviously, this is a best-of-5 show match. There's nothing on the line per se, but maybe we should do like sponsored matches eventually, like where we just straight up say like, hey, winner of this best-of-5 gets $10. I know it's not much, but, then there's stakes. Then there's something happening here. Obviously favoring TopRamen's position, but his Ant-Seals are flying directly over the Horde. Unfortunately for Tacocake, he wasn't focus firing a single one of them. And there were 3 of them, so a lot of the power there, initially going to be absorbed. Now, he has the 2 Phalanxes. I thought I saw a third, but probably just something in the production menu or something. Yeah, there's a third one back here, and we've got another one that just spawned. SimCity betraying him again. He should move this stockade so that he can get a beeline with his slow-moving armor units. A couple of straggler units confirming that the move-out is continuing to happen. We've got these wounded 7 Wraiths that might go ahead and stab on in. Right now, though, Tacocake is sticking on the 1-base play. It's a little bit desperate versus a 2-base Terran. If he can wipe this army, he can think about taking like 2 bases at the same time. The Wraiths are probably a non-factor at this point, although they will be able to scout and confirm that there is no second base. So, like, TopRamen will know that his opponent is kind of against the wall here. Shaman leading, not exactly the ideal scenario, but the Ant-Seals are going to be money in this situation. Now the Wraiths coming in a flank, get a little bit of damage dealt to some of those ranged units. Here comes the flank with Zets, but they end up getting wiped by the Stimmed Mavericks. And the Hydras over here not actually joining the fight. This might be the death knell. He's got a lot more Quasis. He should be able to just right-click this undefended Phalanx. It looks like only one of them ended up surviving this fight anyway. These Hydras have been zoned away by the single Wraith. And okay, despite losing one of the Phalanxes, it looks like this push can continue, mostly due to the 3 Ant-Seals. We've got another attempt at taking this natural. That'll be the 3rd time, and I feel like he needed to save it the 2nd time. The 2nd time, it was absolutely possible to dog the Wraiths with the Quasis, force a fight, and then the Hydra timing would have absolutely helped him out there. That feels like the critical mistake that needed to not happen, right? We don't have any Vorvs either. That would have helped out a lot, but he's very limited on minerals. I say that, he's got a lot in the bank. Making a single Bactylisk. Now here comes the Stim, and of course the Phalanx Siege. We've got more Ant-Seals, 3 more Ant-Seals, in fact, up to 6 Ant-Seals, just a ridiculous amount. We've got crazy amounts of bio. As soon as this army is visible, I have a feeling that Tacocake will concede the game and the series. TopRamen looking pretty sharp here. I will say, though, this game was played as, like, I think probably the first game of the day for Tacocake, where TopRamen was a little bit warmed up. Remember, this best-of-5 started off as 4 games that we didn't end up seeing conclude until now. And so this game was played at a later date. So that probably factors into it a little bit. It wasn't just continuous games where maybe you can say that Tacocake had a little bit of pressure or momentum to him, but TopRamen will end up taking the series, and with that, maybe his hopes of being a Battleman's Caliber player are restored after he has lost out, as of the time of recording, against General Anakin. Very, very powerful Protoss cheese going on there. I know this video was shorter than the other 2 that chronicled this series, but that's just because there was only 1 game left. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you like what TopRamen and Tacocake are up to with their aggressive, brawly sort of style, I do think that Tacocake brought him into the mud a little bit because TopRamen likes his macro. But hey, he's showing himself to be a very, I would say, varied player. And, deserved W. I think both of these players. You could play this series back a few times. I'm sure Tacocake would take the series. So, hey, we're starting off strong between these 2 guys, and I'm sure we'll see more from them in the near future. Thanks for joining me for this series, and long live Cosmonarchy, and long live the daily video streak.